Hello, welcome to Allergy Dragon. My name is Martha Morgan, and I am a specialty diet and allergy chef, for those who don't know. I also live with celiac disease, multiple food allergies, and I have raised a child with over 30 food allergies and celiac disease as well. So since this is a Celiac Sisters episode, I have to have my literal celiac sister here with me, don't I? Hey, Cindy, introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Cindy Dennis. I'm the CFO of Allergy Dragon, also the content provider for Cindy's Corner for Allergy Dragon. What do we have in store for us on this episode, Marty?
Oh, yeah, that's right. You call me Marty. So occasionally you're going to hear Marty instead of Martha, because that is the nickname known by my family. So what we're going to be talking about today is all of the factors that factor in our lives for autoimmune diseases. Most of you all know that we have celiac disease and food allergies. We don't really talk about all of the autoimmune diseases or things that we have. I mean, we've touched on them, but that's what we're going to be talking about today. But before we jump into that, quick disclaimer, as always, the views expressed here on our show are the personal opinions and life experiences of ours and our guests. We are not healthcare providers or doctors. Please seek advice from your healthcare professional for any diagnoses or changes to your healthcare plan. And yes, I had to read that because I mess it up if I don't. I'm finding out. End of disclaimer. Okay, so I guess I'll start with the fact that most people know that I have celiac disease. But before that, I was 4 years old when I got diagnosed with juvenile RA, which followed me into adulthood. Sometimes you can outgrow it. Sometimes it will just keep following you, and it has me. Then I later found out I had celiac disease, which inflammation, all that kind of thing kind of goes together. And it's really, really cold. And we are filming this. And it was like 17 degrees when I woke up this morning here in Louisville, Kentucky. And so I've been moving very slow. With my RA, and everybody's different, remember that. And so my personal experience with RA is that if it's way too cold or way too hot, it really causes me to flare up a lot. And so it causes the inflammation to get worse. Things will ache. I'm lucky as in my RA kind of moves around. So it's not always the exact same place, the exact same time all the time. So like, it's been really rough this week because we've had a really, really big cold spell. So I've had a lot of trouble with my shoulders and picking my shoulders up, like my arms up, debating on even brushing my teeth. Some days it's like, is it work? Like, it really does hurt that much to just do some simple tasks that some people don't think about, or shuffling papers, because they're like, you're sitting at a desk. How hard can it be? Like, but even like the typing emails and shuffling papers, it gets really painful when I have a flare up. And then sometimes it's just my hips and my knees, and that affects how I'm walking, and it's more visible to people. These are all invisible diseases we have when you have autoimmune diseases with food allergies, etc. People don't believe them until they see it. And, I always feel some type of inflammation no matter what I do. And I have some sort of pain no matter what I do. That's like my normal. And on good days, I can do a lot. And on bad days, sometimes I still push through, and then sometimes I push through too much and cause problems. So we're here today because we both were like, we're texting before this, and we're like, I just don't feel great. I don't feel great either. Thank goodness we decided to, record later in the day at like 1 o'clock. For me, some days it's like, it takes me an hour or so to get out of bed. So it's just really hard sometimes, and it's hard to explain or put in words. So if anybody else out there has RA and has to deal with the cold and how that affects you, plus, aging with RA is different because I am starting to get some osteoarthritis as well. Being 46, getting ready to turn 47 in March, it changes the things. But at the same time, I at least know what's wrong with me. There's so many people out there that are suffering from autoimmune diseases or different things and don't know what's wrong with them. At least I know what is and what works for me most of the time. But as I'm aging, I don't know if that's way for you, Cindy, because I know you're going to start to share about yours too, but like aging with autoimmune diseases is a whole nother ball game. Like it levels up. So I think it's like 29 degrees right now. Woo, we're like almost warm. And so Cindy, tell us about your autoimmune diseases and how things affect you, and then, all that good stuff, all this cold weather.
Well, I got lucky and was diagnosed first with Hashimoto's thyroidism, which was my first autoimmune disease. Mm-hmm. Then I think the next was the osteoarthritis in the left knee. and then celiacs came along. So I think that's all my autoimmune diseases. Because
Oh,
the
you
other,
had a liver one too.
well, it's more, that's a chronic disease.
Oh, it's a chronic, not an autoimmune. Okay.
It's not an autoimmune disease. It's a
Okay.
chronic disease, which is primary biliary colitis.
Well, we'll talk about
So
our liver
yeah,
issues on another day, but yeah.
yeah, that one we'll talk about later. But anyway, no, those are my three autoimmune diseases. The arthritis has slowly gotten worse. It's really hard when it's cold. It's really hard when it's raining. Rain bothers me more than when it's snow, but the barometric pressures can be very challenging. And of course, even in the summer, you have those barometric pressures that can make it even worse as well. And there are days like I can't walk. I have a hard time walking. There's a lot of inflammation. There's a lot of swelling, and you just don't want to do anything. It makes it really hard and makes it challenging. So I totally get it. My osteoarthritis is nothing like your RA. It is more challenging as you age, and trying to lose weight. It certainly is difficult with Hashimoto thyroidism. And then you're also now I'm taking hormone therapy pills. So that keeps me from losing weight. So I feel like I'm in a no-win situation. I'm 60 years old, so it's a tough one. So I totally get it with the weather. And yeah, I'm glad we didn't start till 1 o'clock and we'd already pre-scheduled it. We must have known. We must have known.
Yeah. It's like it's cold. It's not just it's gonna be cold. But you're in like Delaware, so it's usually colder up there anyway.
Yeah, it's pretty cold up in this area. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm almost like sometimes like I hate it. Like I like living in Louisville. Don't get me wrong, I really do like it. But there's sometimes like I really hate like the fluctuations of the temperatures or it's almost like please figure it out. Like because my body does really bad when it's fluctuating a lot. It'll start to get cold. But if it stays cold for a long period of time, my body adjusts a little bit. It's not perfect, but it does not hurt as bad. Like my body gets kind of used to the temperature change.
Mhm.
Same thing with the heat. Like if it's, gets really hot or that kind of thing. And I'm usually so like my sweet spot is like between 50 degrees and 80 degrees. Most of the time I feel fantastic. But like you said, like when we get thunderstorms or things like that during the summer, or even it gets really hot, it causes the barometric pressure. It causes so many issues. I always say I'm like better than the, weathermen, because like I have certain aches that come out for rain and certain aches that come out for snow. And like this year I have a new one, and it's the right knee is so like it used to be just like my whole entire left hip, knee, ankle would just like ache if snow was coming. Like not just like ice and stuff, but if snow was coming, I was like, it's gonna snow today. I can't tell you how hard it's gonna snow, but I'm gonna tell you it's snowing. And one of my employees was like, it's not supposed to snow, didn't say anything. I said, I am telling you, my body is saying it's gonna snow. And next thing I know, they're screaming, Martha, there's big old flakes outside.
Yeah, the hardware that I have from the accident in the right leg, that's something new this year. Is I'm beginning to feel that when it gets really, really cold. So that really is a difficult function now.
Mm-hmm.
So that I hadn't had before. I don't know if it's a combination of old age and the hardware being in there or what. So, but I still have bone on bone in that knee, the arthritis in that knee. So, too. So both of them.
Yeah. And you're losing weight to try and get your surgery, which will help some of the pain that you're having, but you're still going to have some other pain. I mean, it's almost like, I joke and say, but it's true. If I wake up and feel nothing, like I feel fantastic, I would be worried that I was dead. I say it a lot.
Yeah. And it's challenging because like I had to take 3 leaves today from the get-go to get out of bed. 3 leave, and it's not the best thing for me to take because it messes up my stomach, but I can't take Tylenol either.
They also say with a leave that you have to watch it when you hit a certain age too. So be careful with that.
Yeah, I really have to wait. I try not to do it all the time and take it, but there's like nothing else out there, or that you can get something and then the side effects are just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So,
I hear you. I don't know what I'm going to do when the leave gets to the point where I can't have a leave anymore. I mean, it's a daily thing for me. It's been in my regimen for a long time.
mhm.
So anyway, because I got prescription form of it back in the day, and then they were like, look, they have it over the counter. But it's in NSAIDs and things like that. But at the same time, so for me personally, when it comes to my RA, I don't take any anymore. I mean, I've taken them in the past. I've had steroids, which for me, steroids work pretty good. Just you have limited amount of time that you can take steroids for. Because they have their own side effects as well. And then they have biologicals. A lot of the biologicals did not work for me. I hear for some people they do. And if you can take them and they help you, then, I'm not going to judge people on those things. Those are your choices, your life. And I just feel like you should live the best life that you can. I mean, none of us are promised tomorrow, regardless of what we're doing. None of us are promised tomorrow. And so I think you should try to live the best quality life you can. And if that includes, those medications that might make you feel better, then that works for you. I'm not going to sit there and tell people that they can or they shouldn't take it because of this or this. I think sometimes you just have to listen to your body. You're your own advocate. So no shaming on that aspect. For me, like I said, I've always had this. I honestly thought for a while, oh my gosh, just nothing was going to help. And so for me, for my inflammation, a lot of things that helped is finding out I had celiac disease, because that causes inflammation in my body because my body can't digest gluten. A lot of my inflammation went down, like my internal inflammation organs. And I don't think I would be alive today because I was so overweight. And so for me, my metabolism and everything was messed up for me. So for me, one of the right answers was celiac disease. And then now that I'm going through menopause, I've been gaining weight, which of course my joints hate that. But at the same time, I'm having to learn and rest more, cortisol and learning different things that we never knew about when people were going through menopause. Like when our mom went through menopause, it was she didn't want to talk about it much. There was not really much out there said. And it's I haven't really changed my diet. I'm probably not as physical as I should be. So I've been trying to exercise more and lift weights, changing what I'm doing as far as my movement. But at the same time, resting is huge. I found that I was figuring out I'm not sleeping. And that's probably why I'm gaining so much weight in my stomach area. And so it's oh, you need to prioritize rest, and find out what's working for you. So yeah, it's just ever evolving and changing. And I think, it's tough.
Yeah, going through menopause. I mean, I'll never forget I was dealing with that as well before the breast cancer. And when I went through menopause, I had to, I was gaining weight as well. And my doctor just really said to me, don't focus on trying to lose weight going through menopause. When you're going through menopause, it's just a struggle. And she says, you'll just frustrate yourself. You'll make things worse. Just learn to get through, just watch what you are eating, continue to eat healthy, but just don't worry about it because once that kind of moves out. But now the medication I'm in has now put me back in menopause, essentially, to turn out the receptors. And so now I'm having hot flashes and I'm having night sweats. And you go through all that all over again, taking this medication. And that can be very frustrating in itself, too. And I'm not seeing the weight come off, even though I'm going to work out in the water. I go 5 days a week almost, except for last week. I had 2 hard days, and Wednesday I just couldn't make it. It was snowed. It was snow on the ground. I was I could have gotten there, but it's just my body. You just kind of have to look at yourself and say, okay, probably just need to rest today. Take it easy. Then hit it the next day. So it's always about being your own advocate, knowing your body, what your body's telling you, and trying to figure out the pathway forward. Always challenging. And I tried, and people say, well, I tried the gel shots in my knees. That's done with. There's not even enough place to put gel in there. Cortisone shots don't help. It is where it is. It needs surgery, but one of the rules up here, or the surgeon that I want, I have to get down and go down to 230. Now, my highest weight was 379. So I've been down these paths before of losing weight. it's just a struggle to get down to the, it's about 30 pounds. And I've been struggling with pounds going up and down, up and down. So it is what it is. But, you keep on pushing through, making certain things a habit. Working out has to be a habit in the water where I'm not putting any weight on my legs. So deep water exercise helps. So
yeah, that's good. And that's good that you have the ability to do that. I was thinking about it. There's some people that just don't have access to healthy food or have access to where they can work it out in the water all the time. That's me. I would be I feel better if I could. And, but at the same time, I'm thankful for what I can do. And what I can't do. Like I usually work out with like a bike and that kind of thing. There's a lot of stuff that I can't do physically, but I think like movement is important, and surrounding yourself with people that, just sometimes getting up and walking a day and walking and doing my job at work is a feat, like some days it's just like, and then sometimes it wins. Somebody asked me, how does it feel to have the flu, or not the flu, to have an RA flare up? And I said, well, they're all a little different. I said, but for me, when they're really bad and when it's like my body's telling me you need to go rest, it's almost like having the flu. So I kind of messed that up, but I will run a low grade fever, and there's many people that do. And sometimes you'll have a rheumatologist, oh, that's not true or whatever. But I've met so many people that have had the same thing where their flare up, and it's just, my body's usually runs it's like a very low grade 99, 100, but you feel it. You feel like you're having a fever and you're achy, and it feels like the flu. It's just 9 times out of 10, I don't have a congestion, or vomiting or anything else like that, but achy wise, like it's just almost like having the flu all the time when you have a flare up. And I always have pain in the morning, and I have to push through the pain, because for me, if I work through the pain, usually I start to feel better. Like I will start out the day feeling like crap. And most people know, like if I push myself to a certain degree, and then I start to feel better, but it's not always that way. Sometimes my body says, no, you can't. And I have to listen to it. I think that's very important to say, listen to your body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Cindy, what else do you have planned for today, since you had to get dressed up and gussied up and we had to show up, like people.
I baked bread yesterday, gluten-free bread, which my husband even liked.
Ooh, that's
and he
good.
says, "Oh, we should do sausage gravy." I said, "Well, we don't have anything thawed, so I think we're going to have sausage gravy and on the bread that I baked for tonight for dinner."
Oh, okay. I'm actually marinating sausage right now for because I'm doing some test batching, but like just to finalize my recipe for the gravy cup. And so tomorrow morning we are having vegan, biscuits and gravy in the morning. So I'm excited about it. So I've found one of the things is like making sure I put the spices and stuff in it, because we can't get they have some really good like Beyond Meats, like Beyond Beef, they have like a breakfast sausage, which is really great, but it's got herbs in it that Vesper can't eat. So it's like, oh, well, that tastes good, but I got to make my own. So
yeah,
just like if I do turkey sausage, we have to make it.
Yeah, we use the turkey. Butterball has a turkey one that doesn't seem to bother either one of us, so that's one I use. Just got lucky that way. Yeah, so it cuts down on it, and I've gotten very good at the gravy. So everybody seems so it's like made when our brother was up here, and then I made it for at Christmas time for my Will's son Kevin, because he saw of course you made it when I wasn't there. So I made it when he was here. So I've gotten pretty darn good at it. I never thought I'd get to the gravy making stage. And I can even make the gravy for the patients, and even for the gravy making for the pot pies. So yoo-hoo, I've come a long way.
You have, and it's all thanks to your sister. Not all things, but the guidance,
mostly
guidance
and your
recipes.
And your recipes.
They're actually good. People actually eat them. But yeah, no, seriously, Cindy would be, and I'd be like, you just need to be patient. You need to calm down. You need to be patient. I was like, I don't have patience. And then, Yeah, I'm like, I know, I'm related to you, I'm aware. But
Very
certain
well.
things you have to have patience for, and it pays off, because then it's like,
Crazy.
oh,
Yeah.
and then it can become so easy, and you're like, why didn't I know how to do this? Like
Yeah.
it becomes, but I'm
Well,
glad.
I've had them break and not being able to recover them. So that's when I said, okay, you weren't patient enough. You need to,
Yeah, something was
yeah.
too hot, too cold. Yeah, you have to
Didn't
have
quite get
a.
it. So
We are making this an official podcast at some point too, as well. So be watching for that. So subscribe to YouTube, obviously. And I guess we get to end this episode with the fact that, even though we have all these things going on with us, I think it makes us stronger at the end of the day. What do you think?
oh yeah, definitely. I think it's made us strong individuals. You can't stop living, and you could give up. And I've seen people give up, but you would miss out on so much by giving up. And sometimes you're right; it's just getting out of that bed and pushing through the pain. And sometimes it does get better.
Yep. There's people out there that have a life way worse than mine, and there's people that, obviously can listen to us and yeah, if you're inspired by it, great. And if you're not, that's okay. And then maybe you feel like, hey, you're our sister. Well, then, yeah, you are, or our brother, we all have to kind of stick together and support each other. And when we each have bad days, we have to kind of lift each other up. That's what hopefully we are instilling in everybody with this podcast. Check out allergydragon.com for Cindy's Corner. Thanks for listening to us. Cindy, anything you want to say before we end the episode?
Yes, I have a question for you.
Oh, that's right. We were going to play games.
Yes. Would you rather have it rain or snow? Which one makes you think it's worse for you?
Oh my gosh. Okay, I would rather it rain than snow. So snow is worse because of like the dangers that come with it outside trying to walk when you already are are having issues. I mean, it's slightly slippery with rain, but with rain generally you don't have the ice. And so I would rather it not snow.
I'll have to agree with that.
Okay.
And for the same reasons. That's just it.
Yeah.
I always think of snow and ice, and the fear of falling just scares the bejesus out of me.
Yeah, it used to never bug me because I used to fall all the time, and now it scares the tar out of me because I can't get up like I used to. I'm
afraid of breaking bones.
I'm afraid of breaking bones too. When I fell at
brittle now.
work, yeah, but it took like 2 people to help get me up. I'm not even lying. It was just like, what? Okay, so my question to you, because we said we were gonna start doing this, and look, I forget again. Would you rather be able to run a marathon with no pain, okay? Or would you rather be able to live your life every day without pain?
I'll live my life every day without pain. I have no desire to run a marathon. I didn't have a desire when I could have run a marathon. No, thank you. Sorry. I'd rather have a day without pain. And I think most people would.
I do agree that I think that most people would rather have a day without pain. But if you look at it, okay, so I'm saying that I would rather run a marathon without pain just because I have never, ever in my life been able to experience a marathon. Running of any sort hurt so bad for me that even just running, I joke all the time, if people see me running, you need to run too. And you're probably, because that's the only way I'm going to run is if my life is in danger, and I'm not going to run well. I mean, because it hurts that bad. I mean, I remember skipping and everything used to hurt, but it hurts so bad. And I think sometimes pain is good. I know this is weird, but I think pain is good sometimes daily, because I have such a high threshold for pain that sometimes it makes it where I can't just tell if I'm really hurt or sick or not. Mm-hmm. So I think I would rather have just one moment of being able to know how that feels. So I know it was a weird question, but I would rather be able to run a marathon without any pain just to know what it feels like to run a marathon.
Never had the desire.
Never had the desire? I did. I just wanted to be able to run.
I could run. I just, no.
Well, we've had very different lives. So,
Yeah, very different because I was a gymnast. I used to run. You did track and field, so, but
yeah.
You did run a marathon. No.
I've always been chubby. I've always been overweight. I mean, except for like when I had lost a lot of weight at one point, and then we found out why that it was very unhealthy. But I did lose weight when I was like 13 into 14-ish. And then I've lost weight now too, but I've never been a very tiny person or a thin person, whereas Cindy was definitely the I won't say Model S, but she was definitely built like a brick house, basically. You know, that was the era you grew up in. So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. I was much thinner in my days.
So you've experienced that, and you've experienced like no pain. And so and in a way, it's kind of good and kind of bad. I mean, this has been my reality, but that's one of the things I always wished I could do is like run without hurting so bad. So anyway, that's why we do these, to learn about people and learn about each other. So okay, well, that's it. That's the end of our episode. And that is we're going to be trying to end those, unless I forget. And hopefully Cindy will remind me from now on with our would you rather questions. And we'll see you.
Bye.